Well, he's finally back. We're doing the first video. I have not been able to do a lot of videos because you haven't been around. I've just been doing a lot of things on my own.
Yeah.
Because you've been busy, Drew.
I have been.
Yeah. What have you been doing? Because I think it's been like a month and a half since we've worked together.
Yeah. I have been spending every day with Team Liquid seeing if we can make a gold player get to a pro level.
Yes. So this was a video, you told me that they had approached you. I think Ben over there had approached you.
Yep.
And said that they wanted to like have you train with them for a month. I think it ended up being 21 days.
Yeah, it was 21 days, 3 weeks.
Less than a month. And to see for a video, like if they embedded you in like the Team Liquid ecosystem, how well you could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen the video, and I think everybody should go check it out. They put a lot of hard work in it, and I did enjoy seeing you in it. And so people who haven't seen it yet can go watch it. I won't spoil what what ends up happening and how far you make it, and if you make it far at all. But I will say, this is very funny, because one thing that's a little bit of a tease is like, you say you went from gold to, hopefully wherever you were going to go.
Yeah.
But you also went from silver, because in the beginning of it, you immediately...
On my first day, I demoted from gold 4 to, from gold 4 to silver 1.
Okay. And had you been pushing for gold for the purpose of the video, or are you just like, have you naturally been gold for a while?
I had been like naturally gold for a while. It had been a little bit since I had been like consistently playing League, like day in and day out. So, yeah, I was pretty low gold by the time we started.
And so you come in the first day, you go down to silver, and then you've got 20 more days to see how far you can go. Mm-hmm. So first off, again, I really liked the video. It was interesting to see sort of the process, but because obviously the video is only 20 minutes and they kind of, YouTube metas, you just condense everything down. Mm-hmm. One of the things I didn't get a chance to see is just like how those days went by. Like, because obviously you're just sitting there playing League, but there was not a lot of emphasis in the video about like the process of just dedicating yourself for 21 days to trying to get better at League. Yeah. And it's like, I know a lot of people will just grind League. There's a lot of people that are like no life League players, but you were playing how many days or how many hours a day?
I was playing, by the end there, I was playing 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12 hours a day, which is kind of like the League Pro experience. So like, what was it like for you to just spend all these days in a row doing this?
It was really interesting. I think in the beginning, I had been a little more light with it. I was like, this is kind of like a marathon, not necessarily a sprint. Yeah. So there were times when I would get, hey, I'm plus 4 games today. I'm gonna stop playing because I want to go home and it's like 6. And I'm like, that seems like a healthy time to go home.
Yeah, you've been there for about 8 hours, I assume, at that point.
Yeah. I was getting there around 10 a.m. every day. And what I had been really trying to do was like get better at the game, try to play the least amount of game as possible so that I don't burn out, while still getting like great wins. And the concept was I was trying to get from gold 4 to diamond 2. Yeah. And like that is a crazy idea. But I went in with it, like I went into it with a lot of just blind confidence. Okay. Being like, I bet it will work out. And like, look, I got 4 wins today. I got plus 4 on the day. I climbed a division. Like I could just do this. If I just do this every day, I'm gonna get to diamond easy.
Yeah, because you were thinking like a division a day.
Yeah. I got to the point where I'm like, a division a day is good. And then like the first day happened that I didn't get a division a day, which was like, I think the next day. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay, now it's stacking up. Yeah. And so I had like plus 2 that day, which meant the next day I needed to go like plus 6 wins. Yes. And then I didn't. And then so it was like, I need to get plus 8 wins today to be on track. Yeah. And that's when it really started to kind of like crumble in on me.
Okay. One of the things that I see all the time on Reddit is like this idea of like, oh, these guys just get paid to play video games. Professionally, which was essentially what was happening to you. Yeah. Like you were being paid by Team Liquid. They offered you a day rate to just come in and play games, right?
Yeah, fully just
and so a lot of people think like, oh, that's just going to be super fun, or I could do that in my sleep, or like whatever. But I know from talking to pro players that that's not how it is. So how was, besides the stress of like trying to get the progress on it, what was it like to just play League eventually for 12 hours a day?
It was exhausting. Yeah. I love the game, and I have known myself to be able to play hours and hours of League without like drinking water. You know, like
Okay.
I've just been able to like lock in, which by the way is not a good thing.
Turns out, yeah.
Yeah, it turns out there was an awesome mental coach. His name is Tanner, and he talked to me a lot about like nutrition and balancing life and games, and how like a lot of their players can't really balance social life at all.
Yeah.
So when it comes to what you can do, it's like get on a sleep schedule, stick to it, drink like 7 cups of water a day. Like he was like, you can have fish oil supplements if you'd like to. And I was like, oh, cool, that's fun. And I think the biggest thing that changed how I was viewing the game when I was playing it and getting paid is that suddenly there was like an enormous amount of pressure on my play. And that's something I hadn't experienced before. Chasing a rank or trying to climb in league is fun because you're like, I'm just playing solo queue. If I lose a game, whatever. If I win a game, awesome.
Yeah.
But when like the whole point of the challenge is like you have to do well, those losses hit so much harder. And like the fact that the system works where if you lose one game, you need to win a game just to go even.
Yeah.
That's like such a...
Yeah. Every time you
hurts.
lose a game, you're taking one step backwards.
Yeah. And but the same amount of time was put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked at one point in time, I think towards the end, because we had a call about something coming up. I think we were trying to figure out maybe like MSI scheduling or something.
Yeah.
And you were like, I was in a really rough place last week.
And
that I didn't really get shown too much in the video. I don't know, maybe just it was not captured on screen, or maybe they were being polite or whatever. But like, did you, you had like what I thought was like a playful crash out on day one.
I did, and it was playful at that point.
Yes.
Because in the beginning, I demote on my first day. It's like, okay, well, I just had to lose like 2 games for that to happen.
Yeah.
So I didn't really feel the pressure there. It's the first day. Tracking kind of what happened. I'm gonna say a little bit about where we go in the video.
No spoilers on where you end.
No spoilers on where we end, but I had spent the first week, I had like a win streak, and after I demoted, I started to get better. And I had met with the mental coach. He was telling me stuff. I was excited to be playing, and I was on a good groove. And then like one day, it stopped being good. And I had a day where I like went negative.
Yeah.
And that like spiraled me, and it felt like I couldn't win a single game. I went on like crazy loss streaks.
Yeah.
And when that's happening at the same time as like I'm spending 12 hours a day for this, it makes you feel like you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
And like it made me sympathize a lot with when players and like, you know, like professional league players, they go up, they spend all week prepping for these games. And then if every single time you go on stage, you're faltering and you're not doing well, you kind of feel like you're like, 1, bad, and 2, like, then what am I dedicating all my time for if I'm not winning? And that's something that I hadn't really felt before doing this video.
Were you, what was going through your mind whenever you were having these things? Because was it like, this is going to be embarrassing if this video is like, I couldn't make it to plat even or something? Like what?
Yeah, I had this idea because I had talked to the mental coach, Tanner, and we were talking about our goals for the video.
Yeah.
And I had said, I will be happy if 1, I climb really well.
Yeah.
Or 2, the video is entertaining.
Okay.
I was like, for me, as a bit of a performer and a league player, I'm like, I want one of those things to happen because the only way this sucks is if like I do really poorly and the video sucks.
Yeah, they're like, we're just not gonna release this. We paid you for like 3 weeks or something, or
Yep, and I'm like, okay. Not giving away too much, but I was kind of told, like, if you want to do well, you need to like put that out into the world.
Yeah.
You need to like commit and not just say like, yeah, I'm gonna try, but I hope the video is entertaining.
Yeah.
And that to me, that really spoke to me because I was doing a little bit of half and half. Like I wasn't fully committing myself.
Yeah. You're like, this will be fun.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And like, this is a fun experience. It's 3 weeks. I'm putting it at my side. Like my whole life goes to the side for these 3 weeks. And I was still trying to kind of have that life-work balance.
Yeah.
And try to see what that would be like. And come the last week, I took it upon myself to kind of overcommit.
Okay.
And be like, yo, I am staying in the office from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. And I just want to be actually chasing it. And I want to get as good as I can. And I think taking that drive into my own hands made me feel like I had much more control, and definitely just made me more confident in my ability to give my all.
Was there ever a moment where you were like, God, I don't want to play League of Legends today?
You know, I don't know. I think at the worst, like I had a day where I lost. I was like -4 on the day.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think it was just me being like, what am I doing? Like, I don't want to play another game where, and when you're in those headspaces, like I'm blaming my teammates, you know, for a certain extent. I'm like, some of these games are in my control, some of these aren't. And I was focusing a lot on wins and losses, which is, I think, very anti-learning mentality.
Yeah.
And so I would just like, the day would pass and I'd just kind of be like, what's this for? I still like the game. I like being in the early game. I like the laning phase. I like this, but just, it started being like I was scared to lose.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like when you're on a tightrope, and if you're scared of falling, then you're gonna fall. But if you're confident in walking through, you don't. That's how I felt. And so at those low points, it was tough.
The great thing about all this was I'm pretty sure you were recording this while Team Liquid was also like having a ton of issues as a team.
Yes.
And so I think when you first told me about this, it was like, oh, it'll be fun because they're going to also kind of like embed me with the team, and we're going to do some fun stuff with the team. Meanwhile, while this is happening, everybody's like, is Umpty going to be on the team anymore? Like, what's going on? So you were... Early in the video, you're playing near them, and then I think Jan is like, I don't want Drew over here anymore.
Yeah. Very early on, my desk was right outside the scrim room, and I was like playing there, and I was talking through every game.
Yeah.
And then they did like a confessional with Jan, and he was like, it's really annoying to have him around. Like, it's very distracting. I don't want him there. And they were like, okay, so we are gonna move you to the other side. And I got to go to another scrim room. So I wasn't like far from the guys, but I did immediately feel like, oh, I'm kind of stepping on their toes just by being here.
Like the vibes are off a little bit. There's a scene where you're in the kitchen with APA and you're trying to get him to give you any help. I don't know if he just had a bad scrim or if this is just APA, but he's just like giving you nothing.
He's giving me nothing.
Did you just give up on trying to get help from them after a while?
I did. I felt kind of like a stepdad at a certain point, because I was like really trying to bond with them, and they'd be like, I don't really care.
Yes.
And APA, I don't think that was a particularly bad day. I think that's just how he is. That's kind of how all of them are. I think because their mind is just on the game.
Right.
And when they're in break mode, they're like still thinking about the game on their phones. But man, I tried really hard to just be like, hey, like, do you have an idea about a meta pick? And just getting nothing from really any of the players.
So you just gave up on that pretty soon.
Yeah, I stopped trying to sit down with them at lunch, but I would still have some good conversations. There were still some good times that we ended up getting. I just couldn't, I don't think I could organically start that and have it like work out.
Okay, good. So you didn't just get completely blown off by them.
No.
But you did get some support, I think, from the coaching and analysts, right? Like, I think Hatham got interviewed, the analyst.
Got to talk to Hatham.
How helpful was all that stuff? Because it sounds like it was a lot of the mental coach stuff that was helpful.
I think that the mental coach stuff with Tanner, for me, was the most formative experience of the whole thing. We talked a lot about like health and how I feel about the game, and he talked to me a lot about how some players are different than others. Like, there is no one way to be productive and unlock your true potential, whatever. Like, he had even said, like, some players, like, when they're on stage, when they're gonna play, like, they want to play when they need to pee. And I was like, oh. He's like, because you want like a physical body pressure, and that makes some people perform. And he's like, and some people, like, that's their worst nightmare. So everyone's different. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. He told me a lot about creating a system that works for you, and then the most important part is being able to adjust that system. Which was really cool. Hatham, who is the stats guy, a lot of what he would do is be like, so these are your stats, and these are Faker's stats. You're not as good as Faker. And I'd be like, okay.
He's like, how can I give stats to somebody who's sitting in gold or whatever?
But it was very fun, and it was cool to see that data. But Yeah, it definitely felt more like Haytham was a teacher, just kind of showing a report card, being like, "You're not doing well," yeah. Whereas Tanner was like trying to work with me to try to get me to a better place.
You took notes. Do you have those?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So this is the notepad that you have, and I guess was this after every game that you would take notes?
After every single game, I would take notes. And in the beginning,
was this your decision, or like did they tell you?
They had asked me to write down specific like noteworthy games for the video.
Okay.
So like, hey, what happens here? Like my first game, I demoted.
Yeah.
And then like win, made it back to gold. Just kind of like more logistical stuff.
Yeah.
In the beginning, that's what I was doing, and so I was writing like 1 or 2 things per game. But as time went on, I realized that like I wanted to be writing about my matchup in game.
Yeah.
I wanted to be writing about like why I won that game. I wanted to be writing about really like more in depth as to what I was playing, not just like what's going to be good for the editor. So yeah, by the end here, it's like every game that I'd play, I'd be like, let's say Talia versus Diana win, easy game, and then just like going over everything that happened. And that ended up being really helpful for me, one, to just decompress and make sure I understood and remembered what happened. But also, it was cool to, when I was building an idea of like a matchup guide, essentially, because I was playing hundreds of games, I would play against a Zoe and I'd be like, oh, I remember this matchup. Let me check my and then I see, be careful of TPing when she has her E up, because she can just pop you and then like chunk you. Little things like that. I think nowadays, if I do this again, trying to kind of try hard League, I would put it in like a spreadsheet, because then I can just look it up. But it was really cool. I found that I like loved writing about the games. Yeah. And it was really like helpful for me as a player. Something I would never have done before this process.
Interesting. And you were doing like VOD review too.
Yes.
Like that's the thing, is like it becomes, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I can just queue up for game after game. But when you're in this environment, you're also doing like VOD review. They were talking about practice tool at some point in time.
Yep. I would, after every single game I played, I VOD reviewed it. And I had like a list of questions of like, why did we win or lose? What was my agency in that? And then look at all of my deaths, and then sometimes look at all my kills if I'm feeling great. But
was there like was there like, I assume there were probably games where you were like, oh my God, our mid laner just inted, there was nothing, and then you'd go back and look and you're like, oh, well, maybe I could have played this differently.
Yeah. I think because you're like, I have an 0 and 10 bot lane.
Yeah.
But then you look at a team fight, like it's something early that was formative, and it's like, I did misplay, which like even if you have a like a sinking bot lane, if you're doing well, that's gonna influence the game, but also I realized like might inspire them.
Yes.
Like I've had a lot of teammates in this process where in the beginning they're so tilted, they're so upset, and then I'm doing so well that they're like back into the game.
Yeah, they're like, okay, it's fine, we're losing lane because they're doing well.
They're doing well, and like, oh, he helped me out, he roamed bot and saved our game.
Yeah.
And I think there was this interesting idea that Tanner was talking about, which is when you're focused on your own game and you're doing everything you should be, you just end up naturally getting better teammates. And I think there's a truth to that, to confidence, just so like if you believe that, you can keep playing your best. But I also think there's a huge truth in that, where if you're playing your game and you're doing really well and your teammates are not, like the likeliness that you'll get to a point in the game that they turn on because of their build or because of something that happens random, or the team like you're against messes up. With a team fight
or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Like that is so much higher than if you're thinking, oh, well, this game's already over, like whatever, I couldn't do much, but like I'm not gonna try hard.
It's almost like the percentage chance to win graphs, or like the gold graphs and stuff like that they'll show on the broadcast, where it's like, okay, what's going to be more helpful, like you inting or like you helping to get to a place where like a Baron can get stolen or something.
Yeah.
And then you start to swing things back in your favor. That's interesting. Totally. Yeah. All right. So would you have, if somebody wanted to do this like 21-day challenge, what would you tell them?
What advice?
How should they be prepared, or what should they be prepared for? Because again, you said you got kind of like a dark place. I don't know if there was a day where you're just like, I just hate my life. I wish I didn't have to do this today.
Yeah, there definitely was. I think like when you start measuring yourself and your value with your skill in League of Legends, and that's not like your main thing in life, that's gonna like have a crazy effect on your brain, because you're like, I love myself for many, many reasons. How I play in League isn't necessarily the number one reason I love myself.
Sure.
So to then be like, but that's the one that matters.
Yeah.
It's like my whole self-worth got transformed into, whoa, okay, now like I got to a point where what I really liked about what I was doing and how I felt confident is because I felt like I got a lot better at learning.
Yeah.
And that to me is invaluable, and that to me will help me climb versus just being good at the game. I think there are a lot of things that you can do when you are trying to learn this game that are very helpful. One, like, go on Reddit. Like, go on, I know it's crazy, but like go on subreddits of the mains of whatever you're trying to play.
Like Kaisa main.
And like, and just like research. There were a lot of times where I would think that I knew something in game and I didn't 100% know it. And just like giving into every instinct of, wait, what does this do again? Google, make sure I know. Like, let me know every single thing about what void grubs are, because every game I play with them and I'm thinking about my build and macro, I'm not thinking about like objectives. Let me just make sure I know this. Like double checking yourself. But I think mentally, just going into this, you need to be able to put your ego aside, or the way that I think about it is shielding your ego, because like your idea of self and your value is good and it's inherent, but you need to like prep it and be like, yo, by the way, you could be bad. And if you're bad, that's not a problem. You just need to like be able to critically think about what you're doing and not divert. Because you get so close to being like, I didn't do well this game because it was my bot lane. And it's like, no, like I have to look at my games and be like, I messed up here. And now my only goal is to not do that. Little strategies like I needed to increase my map awareness. So I listened to a timer that went off every 10 seconds. And every 10 seconds I would look at my mini map and it would be like beep. And that meant look at the mini map, think about the jungler. And that really did help. Like taking things one step at a time and really focusing on them, although it's not as like fun as just kind of like trying your best, it actually really, really helps.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for the conversation. It's cool to see this. I'm glad you survived. I was a little worried that you would end up broken at some point in time, because I think people misunderestimate how much your mental health could get taxed by playing a lot of League of Legends as sitting in solo queue.
Yeah.
Did you mute your teammates?
I would not mute my teammates.
Okay.
But at a certain point, I started reporting them if they were being toxic and muting them. But in the beginning, I didn't. My advice might even be like try to mute them all in the beginning of the game. Yeah. Because I found that even if the game's going well, if there are toxic teammates, my focus is like diverted. Yeah. Because I'm like thinking, I'm like stressed out. I'm like, and this guy's like freaking out the whole time. Yeah. Whereas just being like, he's doing his own thing. He's in the top lane. Let him.
They're all bots. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. They're all bots. My game knowledge matters. My map read matters. Yeah. Yeah. I think like just the last thing that I'd want to say is like, this really made me appreciate and like fully understand the pressure that the pros deal with. Not only like playing the game, but like not being able to have a social life outside. And that's something where when I was done with this challenge, I was able to be there like with my friends, for my friends. And I realized like I actually like wasn't being a very good friend. I like wasn't being a good roommate. Like I didn't really like do my chores because all I could think about was League of Legends. And I like had to talk to people and make sure that we were good because like I had focused so much and I was chasing something so hard. And a normal person's life is not designed to work when you're being so focused on yourself and what you want. Yeah. And so, yeah, these players have to give up a lot. They have to give up like...
I certainly felt like our relationship became strained while you were doing this, you know?
Well,
you were not really around. And it's interesting because you stopped doing it, but you still weren't at like my birthday thing or whatever. So I don't know if there's like a lasting effect.
I think it's probably a lasting effect. Okay. But I think that's on the mend.
It just made you more selfish in general.
In general, it made me much more selfish, a worse friend. And that's kind of stuck That's the thing.
It's just like a permanent thing.
It's almost a permanent thing, but I think we'll change it. We'll be, today.
Like how long?
A couple weeks. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I've been Drew. This has been Travis. We are TGI and we are strong.
Cool.
Madam Secretary, I have to say, I'm surprised you called. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm getting a call. Sorry, I've got Justin Bieber on the other line, so I'm gonna need to hang up on you. Hey, JB, how's it going? Wait, you want to collaborate with me? You want to make a song with me? Sorry, guys, this is gonna take a while. I'm all ears, Justin. What you got?